The photo showed up on Tuesday morning. My face. Printed in color, taped to the reception desk. Red marker across the bottom. Security concern. Do not grant access. 16 years at Cortex Systems. Now I was a warning label. Leo Patterson, 49. That Tuesday, I figured out what 16 years of loyalty bought you. Nothing. Started at Cortex in 2009. Senior systems architect. Federal compliance liaison. I made sure things worked while everyone else talked about making things work. Kept the lights on. Fixed what broke. Did the boring critical work nobody noticed until it failed. 16 years. Built systems. Fixed migrations. Passed audits. Missed my daughter Becca's college graduation because some server farm caught fire at 2 a.m. and I was the only one who could put it out. That's the job. You do the work. Keep things running until they decide you don't. 3 weeks before the photo, they brought in Todd Wesley, new COO, mid-30s, MBA, expensive suits, consultant type, called himself a transformation specialist. First all hands, he talked for 42 minutes. Digital acceleration, legacy deprecation, human capital optimization. People clapped. I fixed a data bridge failure on my laptop, the kind that tanks client relationships if you miss it. Nobody else noticed. That's infrastructure, invisible when it works. Everyone's an expert when it breaks. I'd been holding together a $450 million defense merger, Stratford Defense Solutions, big government contractor. The deal everyone talked about at town halls would have saved the company if they'd understood how it worked. Federal compliance liaison, third-party signatory, the bridge between Stratford's legacy systems and Cortex backend, 5 different CTOs, 5 different visions. I held it together. Boring work, critical work, the kind nobody thinks about until it breaks. Had federal clearance for the merger, 6 months of background checks, psych evaluation. They gave me the authority, signed the papers, forgot I existed. Fine by me. Less noise, more work done. Only people who understood what I did. Howard Chambers at Stratford Compliance, Maggie Sullivan, my attorney, my old boss before he burned out and moved to Montana. Everyone else, just Leo from integration. Quiet, competent, forgettable. That Wednesday morning, 3 weeks after Todd arrived, I was reviewing final compliance protocols. Stratford deal supposed to close in 72 hours. My certification was the last step. Everything lined up. Months of work, all ready. Something felt off. Opened my personal files, contingency planning folder. Double-checked clause 12F, the clause I'd highlighted months ago, just in case. Cortex never understood. I didn't build systems for them. I built systems in spite of them. Knew someday they'd trip over their arrogance and try to blame someone like me. Wasn't going under. 9:13 a.m., email hit, all hands mandatory, 10 o'clock sharp, people getting fired. Todd stood up there smiling. Transformation, agility, modernization, said legacy tech debt 4 times. Legacy meant me. 3 hours later, Brenda Walsh from HR knocked. Brought Norman Fields from compliance. Someone from legal I'd never seen. Leo, can we speak privately? Conference room. No water, no small talk. Manila envelope. Todd didn't show up. Letter was half buzzwords, half lies. Organizational restructuring. Shifting technical priorities. Your role no longer aligns. Return your badge and laptop by 3 o'clock p.m., Norman said. Legal rep. Security's been notified. Stood up, walked to the door, saw the photo on the reception desk. My face. Red marker. Security concern. Not former employee, not Leo Patterson. Warning label. Trained their last 3 CTOs. Kept their biggest deal alive through 5 system migrations. Missed Becca's graduation to fix a crisis that would have killed the company. Now I was a security threat. Didn't cry, didn't yell. Walked to my desk, packed my things. Everyone studied their monitors. Tyler Hoffman, junior analyst I'd been mentoring, mouthed, "I'm sorry," nodded, "Good kid, not his fault." Did 2 things, handed my badge to Brenda, no speech, just goodbye. Walked to my truck, sat in the cab, pulled out my phone, opened secure authentication app, found my federal compliance certificate, the dual-factor token validating every sign-off in the Stratford merger. Without it, system couldn't verify me. Without it, compliance checks would fail. Without it, merger couldn't close. Revoked it. 1 tap. Confirmation code. Done. 16 years. 1 keystroke. Drove home. They thought they were moving forward. Just burned the only bridge that mattered. Didn't take my jacket off when I got home. Went straight to the garage. Stood there looking at the Mustang. 1967 fastback. Bought it 3 years ago. Still sat there half-finished under a tarp. 49 years old. Spent the last 16 fixing everyone else's problems. Pulled the tarp off, opened the hood. Carburetor I'd been meaning to rebuild for 8 months sat there mocking me. Grabbed my tools. Socket set. Might as well start now. Hands knew what to do. Disconnect fuel line, remove air cleaner. 4 bolts holding the carb. Muscle memory from my dad's garage 30 years ago. He taught me on a 72 Chevelle. Said working with your hands keeps you honest. Can't bullshit a seized bolt. Took 40 minutes to get the carb out. Hands were black with grease. Felt good. Real. Not like pushing compliance documents around a screen. Went inside, washed up, poured bourbon. 2 fingers. Neat. Sat at the kitchen table. Pulled out the fireproof box from the hallway closet. Inside were folders I'd kept for 2 years. Legal, clearance, protocols, red flags. Pulled out contingency planning. Started it in 2023. Not paranoia, just paying attention. You sit in merger meetings 16 months listening to executives make promises they don't understand. You prepare for the day. They decide you're expendable. Folder was thick. Org charts, system architecture, SEC correspondence. Buried in the middle, original Stratford merger protocol checklist. My name at the bottom of every page. Certified third-party liaison. Neutral clearance authority. Flipped to clause 12F. Termination of named liaison without formal substitution and recertification voids compliance status and suspends legal standing of acquisition protocol. Plain English. Fire me without replacing me with someone who passes federal clearance. Merger becomes a $450 million paperweight. No Leo, no deal. Sat there. Paper felt heavier than it should. Hadn't told anyone about this clause. Nobody asked. Most never read the merger documents, just assumed I'd keep the machine running while they took credit. Not anymore. They didn't just fire me. Detonated their own timeline. Had no idea yet. Right now, Todd was probably congratulating himself on streamlining operations. Someone was updating the org chart, erasing my name like I'd never existed. I opened my laptop, checked the federal authentication logs. The revocation had propagated, time-stamped, locked, irreversible. Tomorrow, Stratford would notice something was missing. Then the screaming would start. The call took 4 minutes. I sat at my table with the merger folder open and dialed Howard Chambers at Stratford Defense. Didn't rehearse, didn't script it, just called. Stratford Defense Compliance. Howard Chambers. His voice was upbeat. Too upbeat for a man standing at the edge of a cliff. Howard, it's Leo Patterson. Paper shuffled. Mouse clicked. Leo, hey. I was just reviewing your final checklist. We were expecting your certification this week. You calling to confirm it went through? I leaned back. Not exactly. Just checking if there were any updates on your end before I proceed. Pause. Wait, you haven't submitted it? No. Okay, but why not? His voice changed. The smile evaporated. They terminated my employment yesterday. Silence. Like someone had sucked all the air out of the line. I'm sorry, what? I'm no longer employed at CoreTech. Badge revoked. System access disabled. Officially separated. But you're the named liaison. Your credentials are hardwired into the process. Your ID is in the acquisition binder. Our compliance flags are tied to your certificate. We can't just swap you out. Correct. I let him sit with that. I'll have my attorney send formal notice, I added. Wouldn't want any ambiguity. Then I hung up. No drama, no threats, just a clean cut through their timeline. Next, I called Maggie Sullivan, my attorney for 6 years. Sharp. Former JAG officer, the kind of lawyer who writes letters that read like court-martial charges. Maggie, I need you to draft something. I explained the situation. She was already typing before I finished. I'll have it sent within the hour, she said. Her voice had that edge it gets when she smells blood. 2 sentences. Clean and brutal. The letter she sent was perfect. Leonard Patterson no longer represents CoreTech Systems in any formal or advisory capacity, effective immediately. All compliance duties tied to the Stratford Defense acquisition have ceased. Notarized, signed in blue ink, sent priority with digital confirmation. The moment it hit Stratford's inbox, everything stopped. They froze the merger account, paused fund authorizations, halted signature protocols. I got a system alert 5 minutes later. Authentication handshake failed, certificate mismatch. Yeah, that's going to keep happening. Then I did something small. Texted Tyler Hoffman, the junior analyst who'd been decent on my way out. They might want to check clause 12F. Just a thought. Hope you're doing okay. 3 minutes later. What the hell is clause 12F? Everyone's freaking out. Did you hear something? I didn't answer. Let him figure it out. Not cruelty. Education. The kind you get when you watch the ground crack and realize the lifeboats are gone. Stared out my window. Sun setting behind the neighbor's roof. Across the street, someone still had Christmas lights up. April. Done. Like closing a book I should have finished years ago. They'd gift-wrapped the leverage and delivered it to my door. Didn't need to shout. Didn't need to explain. I was the consequence. And they were about to learn what it costs to cut your foundation. By Friday morning, the storm hit Cortec headquarters. Merger signing scheduled for 10:00 a.m. Full executive theater, polished shoes, expensive suits, legal briefs lined up. Stratford's delegation was supposed to arrive, flash smiles, sign papers, while photographers captured it for press releases. But 10:00 came and went. No Stratford, no delegation, no signatures. Just silence. At 10:12, Todd Wesley stood at the front of the conference room, one hand in his pocket, nervously clicking a pen. "Well," he said, forcing a smile, "you know how these defense contractors are. Slow. Bureaucratic. We'll sort it out internally." He kept repeating that. "We'll sort it out internally." Except the problem was already internal. 3 floors down, someone started whispering about clause 12F. Tyler couldn't help himself. Mentioned it to another analyst who went digging through the shared drive and found a copy of the original merger protocol I'd uploaded months ago. By 11:30, it was on Slack. By noon, full panic. The general counsel stormed out of his office, yelling for someone to find the original signatory documentation. HR went into meltdown. Compliance froze pending invoices. Legal started asking who'd authorized my termination. The merger lead tried calling Stratford and got stonewalled. "We're currently reviewing internal documentation irregularities. Please stand by. Corporate speak for you screwed up and we're not fixing your mess." At 2:04 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Declined. Again, Cortex CFO calling direct. Declined. Third time. Voicemail. Alan Porter. The CFO sounded like someone trying not to panic. "Leo, hi. Look, I know this isn't ideal, but we've hit a snag with today's signing. Was hoping we could connect briefly, just to clarify some compliance details. Nothing major. Dotting I's, crossing T's. Give me a call. I played it twice, deleted it. They thought this was a snag. This was cardiac arrest. I checked the Federal Liaison Registry. My name still listed. No substitution filed. No recertification request. No alternate key. Without that key, Stratford's automated compliance couldn't pass the federal gate. No handshake, no merger, no exceptions. The more they panicked, the calmer I got. Tyler texted again. They're losing it. Legal blaming it blaming legal. Todd says it's a temporary system glitch. This is insane. Did you do this? I sent back a period. Let him interpret that. I made a sandwich, watched the news, checked emails for my side consulting work. The work I'd been doing quietly for 8 months, just in case. At 4:00 p.m., mass calendar invite, emergency, all hands. 4:30 p.m., conference room alpha, subject, realignment and roadmap discussion, translation, damage control. That room was about to fill with buzzwords and flop sweat. Me? I wasn't even on the guest list anymore, but I was watching. Quiet, steady, letting the ripples spread. Monday morning, 9:06 a.m. The email landed. Subject line, pending merger, immediate compliance review required. The body was ice cold. To whom it may concern, due to the unplanned termination of the listed third-party liaison without replacement, Stratford Defense Solutions is formally pausing all executional aspects of the acquisition. Compliance obligations under Section 4.7 and Clause 12F are currently unmet. Transaction status suspended indefinitely. 4 lines, no negotiation, no spin. The kind of message that makes CFOs drop their coffee. Me? I was at my kitchen table in jeans and a flannel, pouring milk into my cereal, watching it happen in real time. The buzz started on LinkedIn. Finance blogs picked it up. Someone from Stratford posted, Always verify your bridges before you burn them. Perfect. Maggie sent the final documentation 30 minutes later. Fully notarized. Mr. Leonard Patterson has no further professional, contractual, or advisory obligations to Cortex Systems, effective retroactively to the date of his termination. All compliance duties tied to the Stratford transaction have ceased. She added a clause about proprietary knowledge and third-party vendor independence. Maggie's a professional. She knew what was coming. The minute that letter hit Stratford's inbox, the door slammed shut. Legally, structurally, practically. They couldn't just hire someone new and pick up where I'd left off. This wasn't a PDF they could forward. It was a hand-stitched parachute, and I'd been holding the cords. Rip me out, and they were falling. That afternoon, I registered Patterson Consulting Group, took 11 minutes online, registered agent, bank account pending. Just like that, Leonard Patterson wasn't an employee anymore. I was a business. My phone stayed quiet most of the day. No desperate calls from Alan, no frantic texts from Tyler, but I knew they were talking, could feel the boardroom tremors from 20 miles away, because now the whispers were starting. Wait, did Leo have equity in the Stratford deal? Did he build the original integration framework? Was he acting as an independent contractor? No, but they wanted to believe I was. Because otherwise they'd have to face the fact that I was just a salaried employee they ignored until I became the keystone holding everything together. Funny how people rewrite history when the present catches fire. Got a text from an unknown number that evening. 2 words. Well played. No name. No context. Probably someone from legal. Maybe someone at Stratford. Maybe one of the other quiet people who'd watched this circus from the shadows. I didn't reply. Wasn't playing anymore. This wasn't a game. It was architecture, clean lines, elegant collapse, 1 screw removed, 1 certificate revoked, 1 signature never written. The betrayal didn't hurt anymore. That was over. Now I just felt clear. Somewhere downtown, Todd was probably sweating through his shirt in a glass conference room while someone pointed at Clause 12F on a screen. Me? I was updating my consulting website. Patterson Consulting Group. Compliance without compromise. Had a nice ring to it. By Tuesday, whispers turned into full panic. Someone leaked a red-lined document from Stratford's legal team. Termination of Leonard Patterson voids acquisition standing. The phrase bounced through every hallway. Directors sat up straight in meetings. Phones rang non-stop. Lawyers shouted over each other. PR drafted contingency statements in case the press got wind. They did. A financial blog posted, "Unnamed Midwest tech firm loses key compliance asset mid-merger. $450 million deal in limbo." Didn't name Cortec, didn't have to. Inside the building, the air turned to ice. Alan Porter called again. This time he didn't bother with pleasantries. His voice was high-pitched, cracking. "Leo, I swear to God this is your fault. You're holding us hostage. You understand what position you've put us in? This could kill the company. You can't just walk away." I didn't answer. Just watched the phone buzz until it stopped. Then again, voicemail. This time pleading, "Leo, we're willing to be flexible. Please call me back. We can work something out. Stratford won't accept anyone else. They keep saying material personnel discrepancy. Legal says you were never formally replaced. It's a technicality, right? We can fix it. Please." I deleted it without listening a second time. Wasn't a technicality. It was the entire foundation. Stratford wasn't budging. No workarounds. No acting liaisons. No emergency substitutions. Their final response was 3 lines. "We do not accept interim authorization under Clause 12F. Acquisition terms voided. Contract suspended." Todd tried to spin it in a meeting. Said they'd rebuild the trust. Someone in legal reportedly laughed out loud. Then they made a mistake. They thought they could fix this the old-fashioned way. With charm. With pressure. With in-person theater. So they sent someone to my house. Late afternoon. Gray sedan in my driveway. A man in a blazer stepped out holding a manila envelope and desperate hope. He rang the doorbell. Waited. Rang again. I was inside. Lights off. Sitting at my kitchen table with coffee and the sound of rain on the windows, reviewing a contract inquiry from a potential client. He knocked. I didn't move. Watched him on my doorbell camera. Pacing. Checking his phone. Muttering. Finally, he wedged the envelope in my screen door and left. I let it sit there until the wind blew it onto the lawn. Didn't need to open it. Already knew what it said. Apologies, offers, vague promises about restoring alignment. They still thought this was about a job. They didn't understand I'd already built something new from the pieces they'd thrown away. This wasn't a grudge, wasn't revenge, just done. Done letting people talk over me while I kept their infrastructure from collapsing. Done translating their mistakes into fixes. Done playing Sherpa to a summit I was never invited to celebrate. So when they knocked, I didn't flinch. Just drank my coffee, watched the rain, and let the storm swirl behind a door that would never open again. Wednesday morning, the tone inside CoreTech went from damage control to full collapse. The board called an emergency session. No catered breakfast, no slide decks, just red faces and raised voices. The kind of meeting where people shout so loud they forget the building's on fire. Todd sat at the head of the table looking like a drowned cat in an expensive suit. His confidence was gone. His voice cracked. I think we may have underestimated the depth of Leo's legacy role. He didn't get 6 words in. Carl Hendricks, the lead investor, slammed a folder shut and leaned forward. Who authorized termination without transition planning? Dead silence. The general counsel studied his shoes. Alan went pale. One of the board members coughed into her sleeve. Todd tried again. It was a group consensus based on performance optimization and... Carl raised one hand. No more consultants speak, no buzzwords. A $450 million deal is dead. Stratford won't re-engage without Patterson's credentials. You didn't fire a developer. You severed a compliance artery. So I'm asking again, who signed off? Nobody answered. Then someone made it worse. A photo leaked. Security footage from my last day. My face printed on paper, taped to the reception desk, with security concern in red marker. Hit LinkedIn within hours. Caption: How you treat your veterans tells everyone else what they need to know. It exploded. Former employees chimed in. Clients quietly screenshot it. Someone at Stratford liked the post. CoreTech's legal team went into visible panic. That afternoon, Todd sent a formal offer through HR. Double salary, title bump, enhanced strategic authority. The email landed in Maggie's inbox like a Hail Mary wrapped in desperation. She forwarded it to me. Want me to ignore this or respond? Respond, I said. Her reply was beautiful. Mr. Patterson appreciates your revised offer. However, he no longer holds employee status at CoreTech Systems. Should your organization wish to re-engage his expertise, Patterson Consulting Group is available for contract services. Market rates apply. Retainer required upfront. Engagement, subject to availability, short, surgical, no emotion. That evening, CoreTech's internal Slack exploded. The offer had leaked. Someone in HR, probably fed up, pasted Maggie's response into a staff thread. It circulated faster than any memo Todd ever wrote. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. The same people who'd barely looked at me before now whispered my name like I was legend. Not just that guy from compliance, but the man who brought the merger to its knees without raising his voice. Tyler messaged me. You really said double it and walked away, huh? I didn't reply, but he wasn't wrong. I hadn't burned the bridge, just turned it into a toll road, and now they could either pay or stand there watching the wreckage. It ended not with a press release, but with a whimper. Stratford officially pulled out Thursday morning. The statement hit at 7:13 a.m. Due to unresolvable compliance gaps and personnel discrepancies, Stratford Defense Solutions has terminated acquisition proceedings with CoreTech Systems. We wish all parties well. 4 sentences, cold, surgical, a bullet in a silk envelope. By 9:00 a.m., CoreTech stock was in free fall. $450 million in projected value gone like smoke. By noon, someone leaked the investor call transcript. Brutal. Carl Hendricks screaming, the general counsel deflecting. Todd apparently left mid-call with his mic still hot. Alan Porter resigned via press release that afternoon, pursuing new opportunities, spending time with family, standard corporate code for fleeing the crater. I never went back to that building. Not when they sent another courier with a revised offer. Not when the interim CTO asked for coffee. But I did answer the door Friday morning when a different courier arrived. Small package, Stratford Defense letterhead. Inside was a handwritten note. Next time, they'll know who built the bridge. General Douglas Fairfield. No pitch, no ask, just recognition. I set it on my bookshelf, right between the merger binders and the Patterson Consulting Group operating agreement. Then I walked back to my desk. My home office didn't smell like burnt coffee and corporate politics. Smelled like pine and control. 3 monitors lit up. None connected to Slack, none tied. None. To anyone who could call me expendable. Patterson Consulting Group had just signed its 3rd client. One of them was Cortec. They didn't want to hire me, but they needed to. They were licensing one of the integrations I'd built, the same infrastructure Todd had called legacy debt. Now it was critical, and I controlled the access. I charged them 5.5 times my old hourly rate, no complaints, because this time they knew. The sun came through the window, catching the edge of that note from General Fairfield. A quiet morning, no meetings, no emergencies, just clarity. My phone buzzed, new email, subject, respectfully requesting your terms, Cortec leadership. I opened it. Richard Lansing, the CEO himself, not Alan, not Todd, the top. Mr. Patterson, I'm reaching out personally to discuss re-engagement terms. We recognize the critical nature of your expertise and would like to explore pathways for collaboration. Please advise your availability for a conversation. Formal, respectful, a little desperate. I took a slow sip of coffee, let it sit on my tongue, didn't reply immediately, let him wait. Instead, I opened my consulting calendar. 3 client calls scheduled this week. 2 proposals pending. A defense contractor in Virginia had reached out about a compliance audit. Word travels fast in certain circles. The guy who walked away from $450 million. The guy who brought a merger to its knees with one keystroke. The guy who turned a termination into leverage. Not loud about it, just competent, just clear about what he was worth. That afternoon, I did reply to Lansing. Short, professional. Mr. Lansing, Patterson Consulting Group is currently at capacity. However, I can potentially accommodate Cortec for specific project-based engagements. Minimum retainer, $50,000. Hourly rate, $450. Terms non-negotiable. Engagement subject to scope review and my availability. Sent it, leaned back. The retainer alone was more than I used to make in 3 months as an employee. The hourly rate was nearly 6 times what they'd paid me before. And they'd pay it. Because they had no choice. 2 hours later, his response came through. Terms accepted. When can we begin? I smiled. Not gloating. Not vindictive. Just satisfied. Like finishing a project that had taken 16 years to complete. That evening, I went out to the garage, pulled the cover off the Mustang, ran my hand along the fender. 49 years old. Time to finish what I'd started. Not just the car, everything. My daughter Becca called around 7:00 p.m. She was in grad school working on her thesis. Dad, I saw something on LinkedIn about Cortec. That's your company, right? What happened? I told her. Not all of it, just enough. So they fired you and then the whole deal fell apart? Something like that. She was quiet for a moment. And now they want to hire you back as a consultant? Yeah. At like 6 times what they paid you before? 5.5, but close. She laughed. Actually laughed. Dad, that's the most badass thing I've ever heard. I smiled. Well, I learned from the best. Your mom always said know your worth. She did say that. We talked for a while longer. About her thesis, about her life, normal stuff. Before we hung up, she said, I'm proud of you, Dad. For real. That hit different than the money. Different than the leverage. Different than the victory. Just my kid being proud of me. That's the win that mattered. Saturday morning, I got up at 5:30. Old habit, military days. Never left. Made coffee, went for a run, came back and worked on the Mustang for 3 hours. Got the engine running. First time in a year. It roared to life, clean and strong. 16 months of work finally paying off. Around noon, Tyler Hoffman messaged me. Hey Leo, I know you're probably busy, but if you ever need help with anything, let me know. I learned more from you in 6 months than I learned in 4 years of school, I wrote back. Thanks, Tyler. I'll keep that in mind. How are things at Cortec? Honestly, it's a mess. Todd got demoted. Half of legal quit. They're trying to salvage what's left. But everyone knows what happened. Everyone knows you were right. Not about being right, I typed. Just about knowing what you're worth. Yeah, I get that now. I closed the message, went back to the garage. The Mustang sat there, engine idling perfectly. 16 months of restoration, patient work, no shortcuts. Just like everything else. You build something right, you build it to last. And when people don't respect that, you walk away. Not loud, not dramatic, just clean. Sunday evening, I was back in the garage finishing the carburetor install when my phone rang. Unknown number, almost didn't answer. Leo Patterson? Yeah, it's Danny Ortega. We worked together back in 14. You trained me on the Lockheed integration. Took me a second. Danny, good engineer. Left Cortex 6 years ago for a defense contractor in Virginia. Danny. Yeah, I remember. What's up? Heard what happened. Word gets around in our circles. That Stratford merger collapse? People are talking. Yeah? Yeah. And listen, my firm needs someone for a compliance audit. Defense contract. Federal clearance required. Thought of you immediately. You available? Sat down on my workbench. Might be. Good. We pay market rate, none of this salary bullshit. Contract work, your terms. Interested? Send me the details. Will do. And Leo, what you did? Walking away like that? Respect, man. Too many guys stay in jobs that don't value them. You reminded people what expertise is actually worth. Hung up. Sat there looking at the Mustang. Engine was ready. Just needed to reconnect everything. My phone buzzed again. Becca calling. Hey, kiddo. Dad, I saw something on LinkedIn about Cortec. That's your company, right? What happened? Told her. Not all of it. Just enough. So they fired you, and then the whole deal fell apart? Something like that. Quiet for a moment. And now they want to hire you back as a consultant? Yeah. At like 6 times what they paid you before? 5.5. But yeah. She laughed. Actually laughed. Dad, that's the most badass thing I've ever heard. Smiled. Well, your mom always said know your worth. She did say that. We talked longer. About her thesis, about her life. Normal stuff. Before we hung up, she said, I'm proud of you, Dad. For real. That hit different than the money, different than the leverage, just my kid being proud. Monday morning, 5:30 a.m., old habit, made coffee, went for a run, came back and worked on the Mustang for 2 hours before my first client call. Got the engine running at 8:15, roared to life clean and strong, 16 months of work finally paying off. Tyler Hoffman messaged me around 10 o'clock. Hey Leo, I know you're probably busy, but if you ever need help with anything, let me know. I learned more from you in 6 months than I learned in 4 years of school. Wrote back, thanks Tyler. Actually, Patterson Consulting might need a junior analyst soon. You interested in contract work? 3 dots appeared immediately. Seriously? Yes. Absolutely yes. Good, I'll be in touch. Closed the message, made another cup of coffee. Patterson Consulting Group's website had gotten 63 inquiries since the story broke. Defense contractors, tech firms, government agencies. Turns out there aren't many people who can do what I do. Federal compliance liaison with 16 years of merger experience and clearance that takes months to get. Not rare, unique. And finally getting paid like it. Phone buzzed, email from Maggie Sullivan. Leo, Cortex board counsel, called again. They're asking if you'd consider coming back full-time, chief technology officer position, $320K base plus equity. Want me to respond? Read it twice. CTO. The position they never offered in 16 years, now on a silver platter. Wrote back, tell them Patterson Consulting Group isn't hiring. If Cortec wants my services, they know my terms. Sent it. Walked back out to the garage. Mustang sat there idling perfect. Opened the hood, checked the timing, everything running smooth. Reconnected the air cleaner, closed the hood, sat in the driver's seat. 49 years old. Took 16 years and getting fired to figure out what I was actually worth. But I figured it out. Phone rang. Danny Ortega again. Leo, got another call for you. Guy I know at Northrop. They're looking for someone exactly like you. You want me to pass your info? Yeah. Send it over. Will do. And hey, we should grab beers sometime. You ever get down to Virginia? Might make a trip. Good. I'll buy the first round. Hung up, sat there in the Mustang, engine humming, garage door open, morning sun coming through, not alone on a deck with bourbon watching sunset. Just a guy in his garage with a running engine and people calling because they knew what he could do. Real connections. Real respect, real work. They thought cutting me loose would solve their problems. Turns out they just freed me up to build something better. Started the Mustang. Let it run for 20 minutes. Sounded perfect. Tyler would be good at Patterson Consulting. Danny had more contracts lined up. Becca was proud of me. And Cortec, they were learning an expensive lesson about foundations. You don't replace 16 years of institutional knowledge with buzzwords and a restructuring plan. You just collapse. I shut off the engine, walked back inside, made a sandwich, opened my laptop. 4 client calls scheduled this week, 2 proposals to review, a defense audit in Virginia next month. Patterson Consulting Group was 6 weeks old and already booked solid, not because I burned bridges, because I built them for 16 years, and when they tried to tear me down, I just moved those bridges somewhere that valued them. Clean, simple, done, the way it should have been from the start.